I think the Bills are going to destroy the New York Jets based on their performance in London. They're coming back off a game in another country, and the Bills have to be, not just licking their wounds, but licking their chops, thinking we need to get back on the right track. And here's a division game where they can separate themselves from the rest of the pack. None of the other teams look like they're very good this year, including the Dolphins. Patriots are terrible. And the Jets are in complete disarray and now have an interim coach. But in the last 14 years, I guess would be, Lubie, since 2010, teams that have an interim head coach come in are 15-12 straight up and 16-11 against the spread.
Oh, well, we know. They get the bounce. What do you mean? Dan Campbell, and now he's a good coach with the Lions, even though I really feel like that's his offensive defensive coordinator more than him. But he was a god for like the first 2 or 3 games here. People were like, the Oklahoma drill. There's nothing wrong with decapitating players. That's a great idea in 2015.
Didn't he have him doing tug of wars and things like that? I thought he was running the Superstars competition. I was waiting for Joe Frazier to get thrown into a swimming pool and jump to the bottom. You're thinking maybe Bruce Jenner comes back as Caitlyn Jenner and competes in the thing. You have her throwing the discus or whatever.
The time. Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
Oh, I thought you were going to come in with you say it's your birthday. Come on, Lubie. You can tout the fact that it's your birthday today. Congratulations, my friend, on making it to another year, another trip around the sun, as they like to say. And fabulous. Happy birthday, Lubie. How you feeling, kid? Big 4-2, right?
The big 4-2, yeah. I feel okay. I just feel old. Like I've always liked
Robinson, yeah.
I've always liked birthdays. Like a lot of people don't. I do. Since I was a little kid, my parents always made a big deal. And then once I got into college, being in Tallahassee, like it was the time every year that I could get my buddies to come up. So like every year my birthday, we went crazy. So my birthday, and then from that point on, even when I came back down here, I always had connections to clubs and different stuff being in this industry that like I did promotions a long time, that like my birthday was when everyone would go out and party. So like my birthday was always a great time. Like I've always loved my birthday.
Oh,
when
good.
you get older, it sucks though, because you're fucking old.
It sucks if you're taking 10 people out like I did on my 70th birthday, and then ended up having to pick up the check. Yeah, nobody went to their pocket that day. That was amazing.
That's just weird.
Cafe Seville, it cost me more than a dime, I guess. I mean, it was like $100 a person. And I'm looking around going, hey, maybe somebody's going to pick this thing up, or you're hoping people start throwing money on the table there. Hey, what do you need? Nothing. Check came to me, and I had to sign for it. Unbelievable.
That's great.
All right. Well, happy birthday. I know you have a special occasion. I'm thumbing through the paper here, the paper to paper, because I'm trying to find your horoscope for today.
Oh, God,
but since the thing just came, I mean, like a few minutes ago, I haven't had a chance to find that part because I usually consult it to see what my own fate is going to be. I'm sort of a believer in, what would this be? Astrology?
Yes.
Yeah. It's not astronomy, it's astrology.
Astronomy is actually an actual science.
Yeah,
astrology is what my wife would probably listen to.
You don't think there's anything to it, though, Lubie? Okay, here it is. You want your...
Shirley does. I don't. What do you mean? Shirley goes and has her colors read. I'm like, your colors red?
That I don't buy, but,
They're like, oh, your aura's pink today. Last week it was orange. I'm like, yeah, okay, there you go, babe.
All right. Birthday Wednesday. It says Venus, your ruler, links with Neptune on your birthday, which means you need to adopt a more relaxed view of life and its troubles, accept everything that comes your way over the next 12 months with a smile, then teach others how to smile as well. That's your forecast for today, if you were born on this day.
As my mother-in-law is around, she's met her daughter. I try to do that every day.
Here's another version of this. This is the one that was just in general for a Libra that was born today. Not born today, but this would be your sign, today. Okay. You'll have to deal with someone today who is every bit as stubborn as you. And the situation could get ugly if you both refuse to see sense.
Oh, God.
You do, though, share many things in common, so a compromise solution can and must be found. You're willing to compromise
Yeah,
on stuff. I mean, that's one thing you're really good at.
I've been with my.
In fact, you accept shit that you should never
I've
take.
been with my wife for almost 8 years, and we've now married almost 4 years. So yes, the compromise is literally my middle name, my last name, my nickname.
I don't know if that's compromise. It's more like Svengali type of stuff.
Exactly.
I think submissive would be a better way of describing it. More so than compromise. All right. Well, happy birthday, kid. I love you like a son.
I appreciate
and we've worked together now, about 15 years. It's incredible. Hopefully something good will come from all of this, and you'll prosper. And maybe that cryptocurrency that I acquired will be worth more than the half a cent it's worth right now. So if that happens, you got a piece, Lou, because some of it came about from the work that we're doing. So that's good. Should I just cash it out? I mean, I have like 2 million of these things. Can you go and sell 2 million crypto coins at half a cent? That would be 10 grand. 10 grand. Should I get it right now? What do you think?
That's how a lot of people make lots of money. What do you mean? That's where Bitcoin and all that started.
This isn't Bitcoin, though. This is a guy's individual cryptocurrency.
It would start at like a half, like when my Doge got up and I didn't cash in.
Half a cent, yeah.
The idea was if it ever gets to a penny, it's like, I know my brother-in-law made thousands of dollars and it never hit a penny. So yeah, I mean, the crypto stuff, you can make a lot of money because you buy thousands and thousands and thousands of shares, or you have millions. So like,
I got 2 million of these coins. At one point in time, they were worth like 50 cents a piece. That was long before I got in contact with this thing and acquired these in a transaction that is of questionable legitimacy, but I'm hoping, baby. I'm hoping. I got to, I got to see where that goes. Well, I mean, if the thing ever really takes off as it's supposed to, then it's going to be worth like some money because it'll actually be a currency that's used in the exchange, and of course, it's all contingent on gambling. So, so it's a real gamble here, but I paid nothing for it. I mean, I just acquired it as part of some kind of deal that I made. So we'll see. But yeah, all right, you got a piece then. That's my promise to you, Lubie, for your birthday. Other than that, I have nothing for you.
It's fine.
If I could afford it, I'd take you out to dinner tonight. But you're already booked at the Catherine. Very nice.
Yes.
Which does seem like a very innovative restaurant. The pictures I see, I haven't been there yet, but everything I see about it, I mean, people have been raving about it. It's a Mayo favorite. And it looks like it's one of those places that has its sophistication to it, but at the same time, kind of casual and very creative, I guess is the way you would put it, right?
That's actually the best way to put it. Timon and his wife and their staff push the limits a little, but they also don't go over the edge. You know, they want everyone to be able to they want everyone to be able to go somewhere, have elevated food with not a break the bank price, which is what I really appreciate.
Pictures look good. Interesting. All this stuff is interesting, and it's not the kind of stuff that you're asking the guy, what exactly is this that I'm eating? No, it seems pretty good. All right, let's get to the sporting world, Lubie. There have been some changes, and wow, I mean, this is always a curiosity point, and we've seen it now to an extreme. Although the Jets would be in total denial that Aaron Rodgers is running the ball club, but in the last few weeks. Now they got Devontae Adams from the Raiders in a deal, which they didn't really have to pay a very huge price for. Devontae Adams now is going to be paired up with Garrett Wilson. I mean, that's a pretty dynamic pair of receivers. Now, Rodgers had talked him into getting Lazard, who made a couple of good catches in this last ball game, but they still sit there at 2-3. Maybe, I don't know, do they need to get a new kicker? Greg Zuerlein, Greg the Leg? It's cost them a couple of games so far. They could easily be... Oh, I guess what? Are they 2-4? The Jets?
Yes.
2-4. Sorry about that. I lose track because they have games on Thursday and Monday and all over the board now. But 2-4. Is that their record?
Yeah. They're as bad as the Bills have been. That's actually what sucked about that game was, as much as I can't stand either team, if the Jets could have found a way to win, the Dolphins could be tied for first place if they won this week.
While being god-awful so far this year.
Looking dreadful.
We knew the Patriots were going to be bad, although the Patriots did everybody in survivor pools a big favor who didn't pick the Cincinnati Bengals in week number 1, which everybody thought the Bengals were going to bounce back this year and be real contenders. They were going to have a full season with Joe Burrow. He wasn't going to be compromised. Yep. It's amazing how many teams in the NFL, wow, I mean, if you have a fat kid, make him an offensive lineman. and start them early on because, and actually, our good friend Brett Tesser, the agent of the Stars, has had tremendous success in his career representing offensive linemen.
Yes.
Because there's a giant shortage of them. That was one of the professor's theories also when we were talking about all of these hybrid leagues that came into existence, the XFL and whatever they call it now, that the big difference there is that there's such a shortage of offensive linemen, quality offensive linemen, that's the biggest differential in the play. That you'll find other guys in those so-called minor versions of the NFL that can play and probably at an NFL level, but their play is largely compromised by the fact that the offensive lines are so bad by comparison. And yet, when you look at NFL clubs, how many teams are barking about the fact they have a lousy offensive line, including the New York Jets? And what has been the biggest lament here in South Florida over the last
30
years, is it?
I mean, look, if you want to say the Sims Webb line was a good line, fine.
That was a good line.
Mid 90s. That wasn't late 90s. By the time I was in, that line was not late 90s. So it's been at least 25 years since.
Yeah.
My buddy, the one that's the filmmaker, the one that is in Hollywood, that's been one of my dear friends since I was a child.
Oh, yeah.
Remembers to this day, my dad, when we were young, my dad bitching about the offensive line, and he still is bitching about the offensive line.
Remember, I mean, that was Purcell's, first move. Take Jake Long instead of Matty Ice, and you're thinking, okay, if you were going to get any kind of correlation between the relative importance of a position, yes, left tackle, vitally important, but not as important as having a quarterback. We know that to be the case, as evidenced by what's going on with the Dolphins right now, where they had a quarterback that was somewhat suspect coming into the season in Tua Tagovailoa, and now they have nothing. And you're thinking they're probably going to go and get tagged with another loss when they start Huntley against the Indianapolis Colts. Probably. If they can't find a way. But in the meantime, a couple of teams made moves in the AFC East. Devontae Adams does what for you, Lubie, in terms of an addition to the New York Jets, whose offense has been very subpar. And at the same time, you're saying that, and maybe this is true of a lot of teams also that have losing records, and it's sort of a faint justification for being on the sub-500 side of things. And that is that, well, geez, you know what? They've lost their last 3 games by a combined total of 7 points.
Look, yeah, if they made field goals, they would have won those games.
But that's the NFL, is it not?
Yes, every game is coming down to the last possession or two. That the parity is as strong as it's ever been. Look, it's a nice move. We don't know what Devontae Adams is because he went to the Raiders. That's where receivers go to die. So
still, I mean, everybody looks good in our highlights, but he has enough highlights to make you think that this guy still has everything that he needs to be a contributor.
I think he's a legit receiver. I think it helps them. I mean, him and Wilson, now you can't double team anyone. But it's not their issue. The issue is their offensive, and they tried to beef up the offensive line. But as we've talked about, you can't do it in one offseason. So the offensive line still is subpar to be nice. And Aaron Rodgers is old. And yes, he throws a nice touchdown here. And everyone's like, wow, what a nice pass. But he doesn't do it for the entirety of games. And he can't move like he did. Like that was why Brady could do it so long, as annoying as it was, because he never was known for fucking moving. So it's okay that he gets old because he just gets smarter and figured out better ways of using his arm and using his body and not running. Rodgers was well known for moving around. He wasn't Lamar Jackson in running past the line of scrimmage, but his scrambling ability outside of Fran Target, like he's really known for his scrambling ability.
He can run. He can make plays, I hate to say this because, I hate these new cliches, but he can make plays with his legs.
Yes.
And he has in the past. I mean, he's taken off and run for any number of significant, possession saving drives and touchdowns and odd spots where it looked like he had nothing going. Very, very good at that. Much like Joe Burrow when he put that first touchdown on the board and he says, okay, I'm just going to take off here because everybody's standing on the left. He beats one guy and boom, he runs 67 yards for a touchdown. Rodgers was very adept at that. Rodgers, speaking of cliches, I mean, this is one of those things I always hated when I was calling boxing, and something would pop into your head that you'd heard like Jim Lampley say a million times, and you're thinking, why the fuck did I just say that? You're in the middle of a live broadcast, and you're sitting there trying to edit yourself. But, I mean, it was common to say, you'd have a guy landing a bunch of body shots in the early rounds, and you'd say, well, you know what, those shots are going to pay dividends later on in this fight.
Yep.
But are you seeing Aaron Rodgers taking some of those body shots As his ankle's dinged up now a little bit. He doesn't seem to be getting around as much.
Nope.
Getting leveled behind that offensive line.
Yep.
Plays that, as you said, he used to be able to dodge a couple of guys and make something positive happen. Now he's just almost conceding that he's going to get smashed. It does seem like it's taken its toll on Aaron Rodgers, and that's very likely and logical since he's an older quarterback, much like the dementia is firmly setting in with your man, Donald Trump.
I just love.
How is that? I mean, we talked about this yesterday. I hate to get on it because I really don't hate to get on it because it fascinates me that the country is 50% divided on who they want to be president. When you watch this latest thing, well, it was unbelievable, wasn't it, Lubie? I finally saw a bunch of clips.
Oh, you hadn't seen it? Oh God,
I didn't see it when it happened, and we were talking about it a little bit yesterday. But yeah, I mean, it's insane, isn't it?
Well, what's interesting to me is because that's what a lot of people have been bitching about, and they're right, is that they nitpick everything Harris does, even though she's doing literally anything they ask. Now she's literally just sitting down with the kid around the corner wants her to interview. Harris does an interview. The circus wants Harris to come in and do a sit down. Like she's interviewing with everyone. So she's doing everything they ask, and they nitpick everything. He's doing nothing. And if he does an interview, he's come back. I don't think he's done one interview, even ones that are just standard, without bitching about, well, this is the worst interview ever. It's like, dude, we just asked what your last name is. What are you getting mad at me?
How do you spell Trump?
Yeah, come on. So anyways, but finally they're covering that thing. But what's funny to me is there's no way you can watch that and not go, oh my God, that's the term. And people use dementia. No, it's sundowning. It gets to the evening time and he checks out. That's the stuff that Biden was admitting to is what he's clearly doing. Yeah. But I'm watching clips from different networks and they're like, oh, the crowd seemed to be enjoying it. Well, it was different. I was like,
different. It can wear you out too. I mean, look, I used to travel a lot and I used to really dig it. When I was, doing games and then have to go and do another event and you'd be flying from city to city. And I loved it. I thought it was great. Now, and Trump obviously is traveling in better style than I was because I was on commercial airline flights and you had to deal with the hassle of being in airports and this and delays and all of this other bullshit and weather that was happening in the Northeast and across the country. But I wouldn't want to do that today. I mean, it would wear the fuck out of me.
Oh, yeah.
Just going to Atlantic City is already you're on a flight for 2 hours and change. And between getting in the airport and this and that and all of this other stuff. Now Trump's traveling, as I said, with motorcades and all this stuff on a private jet. But still, if you're going from city to city like that and you're 78 years old, I mean, he's 5 years older than I am. And I would imagine, I think it's fair to say he's not in as good a physical condition just by the fact, that I'm doing a walk of life every day. You have to think, and when I get back and I'm schwitzing, I'm thinking, all right, you got to be at least in reasonable shape to be able to do this every day 100%. In 90-degree temperatures and not really feel any pain. Yep. So it would wear the fuck out of you. And by the time you can see, I mean, it's definitely getting to him. Although it would take a tremendous amount of energy to campaign for president. And then on top of that, you're asking yourself, and why this question isn't being posed. I mean, if Biden was a shot fighter, which he appeared to be, then where the hell is Donald Trump at this point? Just absolutely in no condition to be running anything, much less the country. So let him go bury a couple of more businesses, sell a few of those Chinese Bibles, and get out of our lives. All right, another move was made by the Buffalo Bills. You notice how we just transitioned right out of that.
There you go. Good job.
And we will have Tony Segreto coming up doing some old school here. Amari Cooper, what does that mean to you? Goes to the Buffalo Bills. Cooper, a dynamic, game-impacted player. Several years ago when he was with the Browns, he was great. When he was with the Cowboys, he was very good. What is he now, Lubie? I haven't really followed what he's been doing.
Coming out of Alabama, he was really good. I don't know if it was the disgruntled as much as teams just started moving him. I forgot he was in the league, so I don't know what that says for him. Devontae Adams still has something left. Cooper, I don't think he'll suck with the Bills. I think he'll help them. They need
a competent professional wide receiver.
Yes, you never heard too much from him off the field. He seemed to at least try on the field. So I think it'll give them receiving depth. I don't know what it does.
There's something wrong there, right? And I used to think Sean McDermott was out coaching a lot of the guys, except for Belichick in the AFC East. I'm not sure about Sean McDermott anymore.
My problem is Josh Allen isn't a turnover machine in the sense that you don't call him a really good quarterback. He's a really good quarterback, but he has never let go of that. And Ken was talking about that in comparison to Jameis Winston. He's not Jameis. He's not throwing 30 picks in a season, but he's around the top 3 or 4 every year in turnovers. And in this era, that it doesn't work. And that's the problem for him and for them, I think, is like, I think their offensive line's okay. Look, the run game's never stellar, but they seem to get away with it. It's his play is so boom or bust a lot of the time that I think it caps how good they can be. And that's my problem for them. And McDermott's a good coach, but I think as we're finding, he also has his own ceiling. Like, I think he hits a ceiling where he's good, but he's not better than Andy Reid. And I don't know if he's better than like the Zach Taylors even of the world. Like, I feel like when they get against the better teams in the playoffs, they sort of fall short every year. Like, that's just sort of what it seems to happen with the Bills. I don't look. I think they're going to coast with this division because it's a fucking disaster. As good as this division was supposed to be, it is not. So I think
you thought you had 3 teams that were really going to be dynamic this year, and of course the Patriots were bottom feeders and going to be likely to allow these teams in the division to go 2-0 against them and a combined 6-0. But that hasn't played out. So we'll see. I mean, is it too early in the season to formulate these kind of conclusions? You would have to think that Devontae Adams was going to be at least a plus for the New York Jets offense, which has been staggering around. And that the Buffalo Bills, we don't know. Are they going to find themselves or not? Because through 3 weeks, I would have given them a chance to be Super Bowl champions. And from the last 3 performances we've seen, they're going to make the playoffs probably as a division winner.
Yep.
But that even has come somewhat into question, and then we'll see if they can get back on track and get something going. I don't know that Amari Cooper makes that much of a difference that you can say to yourself now confidently that, oh, my God, the Bills, that they figured it all out. All right, this is beautiful because we do have Tony Segreto, and Tony, a big Yankee fan. Come on into the picture. Oh, look at this guy on cue. Tony, how are you, my friend?
I'm just fine and dandy. How are you guys?
Good morning, Tony.
Did you know it's a special day? It's Lubie's birthday today. Oh, and happy birthday to your dearest friend, Joey Kornblit, yesterday.
Oh, yeah, it's Joey's birthday.
How's he doing, Joey, by the way? Can we get an update?
Joey's doing fine. He really, really is.
What a fighter this guy is, huh?
Yeah, he is. God love him. God love him because he's doing fine.
Okay, good. And Lubie, as you can see, is doing fine.
How old are you today, Lubie?
4'2", my friend. Jackie Robinson.
Jackie Robinson.
Wow.
Robinson, yeah.
42. See, he looks young, right? Do you remember being 42, Tony? I can sort of remember what I was doing and what I was thinking
That's
at the
time. A long time ago, boy.
Fuck yeah. I mean,
it's a long.
Imagine that 31 years ago. Incredible for me. And you, I mean, you don't look it, but, probably approximating the same number, right?
I'll be 75.
What?
In April.
Oh, my God.
Really?
Tony.
Wow. Good for you.
You look good, kid.
You look great.
I hope I can keep it together that long. I don't know. The next 2 years could be very, very suspicious in terms of overall well-being. I still hear my mother, may she rest in peace, say, "Are you still gambling?" She really thought I was much more of a degenerate than I actually am. So, she figured I was just sending it in every day.
You're not really a degenerate, are you?
No, you know what? I mean, look, I love gambling, and I love talking about it. I love following it. I get a lot of vicarious thrills through friends of mine that send me their bets every day. I had a friend last night, my friend Big Rich, who's made some nice scores. He's become a fairly competent horse player, making some nice scores on these pick 4s, pick 5s, and things like that, which you can bet a small amount of money and maybe win a lot. He had a 9-team NHL all-chalk parlay going last night. 9 teams. Now, this is how crazy wagering has become.
You got to keep up with 9 teams.
He had to get 9 teams home to win, all favorites. He picked the favorites in 9. That might have been the whole slate of NHL games. Now, anybody in their right mind is assuming that one of these favorites is going to go down, right? I think he actually went 7-2 with this bet, but ends up losing $5. The possibility was to win $375. So I'm looking at that going, and we know this is true because it's been written about, talked about, that FanDuel and DraftKings and all of these sites, they're not making their money off the guys that send in $20,000, $50,000 a game. They're making their money off the $5 and $10 parlay better. And that's what's fueling all of these ads and all of the endorsers that they have, and pretty much the sponsorship of everything. Hell, they have their own networks. I mean, think about it.
These kids but these young people.
Big Rich is 60, no kid. He's making these bets.
Big Rich. Oh my God.
Hey, let's play.
60 years old. He's making 9-team all chalk NHL parlays.
Big
Tony.
Rich doing that? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
All chalk.
You think to yourself, FanDuel or all these other sites, these kids, these young people who go, hey, listen, let's get in, let's throw in $2 a piece and we'll bet on so and so. That's how they're making their money.
Yeah, off these exotic, multi-element parlays. But I look at it this way. It's kind of like I used to follow this guy. I mentioned it many times. The Phantom Plunger. He was a guy in California who would come in and bet either 50,000 or 100,000.
I love your names.
He always has nicknames.
Oh, I didn't come up with that one. Actually, that was the great, also known as the Professor, the great Gordon Jones, was a terrific racing writer and handicapper. Worked for the L.A. Herald Examiner, which was the alternative, I guess, newspaper in Los Angeles. It was very much like the Miami News was to the Miami Herald, where the L.A. Herald Examiner had some excellent writers. It wasn't as voluminous as the Miami Herald.
Was one of them.
Yeah, well, and Miami News was great. Yeah, you had Jicko was there, and Tom Archdeacon, one of the best writers I've ever read.
He was good.
Boulevard of Broken Dream stories that he wrote.
Rosenblatt, couple.
Did Bob Rubin write at one time for the Miami News?
No.
Or no, he was always with the Herald?
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, the Professor, and he named the guy the Phantom Plunger because you would see in the show pool, there'd be like, $6,000 in the show pool for a race. And you would have a horse that was 1 to 9, a cinch. The mandatory payout was $2.10 in the show pool. So you were going to get 5 cents on the dollar. You're going to make 5% on your money. And this guy would come in and throw down 50,000 or 100,000, and there would be a buzz all throughout the press box where we were, and throughout the track. And Gordon Jones would be leading the charge there, going, "He's here, he's here." But you're thinking that the one time he goes down, losing 100,000, he's got to win his next 20 bets to get even. And that's what I'm looking at. I mean, how many people are losing these $5 multi-parlay bets? Because if they lose one, FanDuel booking these bets, they've got to hope that this guy, I mean, they've given him 70 free plays off of that alone. The guy, he wouldn't lose the money back unless he lost 70 straight parlays. So how infrequently are people cashing for these guys to be making that kind of money, Tony?
And if you do cash, do you get the cash or do you get a credit for it?
No, I think they just put it in your account, right? Goes straight in. You must know. Come on, Tony. You're tapping in on your phone there on all these college football games.
Tony's playing.
Or are you still betting with Louis the Lipschitz? Some guy in New Jersey that you knew as a child. All right, let's get into some. Well, we're going to come back. We have to run a few very important announcements here, and then we'll come back with Tony Old School. What's that?
Pay the piper, yes, sir.
Pay the piper.
Well, we're very grateful for anybody. You know how this goes. We're grateful for anybody who's
indeed
programming, and they're always really good people, and we've had these affiliations forever. So,
is Ed Garcia going to join us today?
I haven't heard back from him, so we'll see. I don't know.
He might still be, helping people in his places recover from hurricane carnage. It blew right. It wasn't too damaging in that Melbourne area. My friend lives up there, and so does. We just saw another guy who moved up into that area the other night, and he didn't seem to be. In fact, he never even mentioned the hurricanes that zipped through there. What was that? Milton was the last one. That was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And Ed shouldn't be in hiding just because. What did Michigan lose its last ball game, or they?
They didn't play last week, and they lost to Washington the week before.
Yeah.
Their quarterback situation is almost as bad as FSU's.
But there's what is it? Munnings, the
it
running
was
back.
Orgy. I don't know what they're.
No, but the running back is spectacular. Ryan. This guy looks like Derrick Henry, doesn't he?
Oh, they have
with speed.
They have two backs that are solid. The problem is their quarterbacks are so fucking dreadful.
Yeah.
They're.
Well, you know what that's like, Lubie.
I said it's almost as bad as mine.
Some pollsters are saying Miami is not high enough, and those arguing say Miami shouldn't be in the top 10.
Miami is a weird case. I mean, that's why I think they're where they should be, because there's a case for both. They are undefeated, so why are one-loss teams jumping them? They also haven't played one ranked team,
There's
not one, so that you can say that as well.
What do you think, Tony? I mean,
I don't know
look,
what to
at 6-0, and they're a major school, and they've got a Heisman Trophy candidate, a quarterback. Put a lot of. Do they still have the number one offense in the country? I'm not sure, but
I don't know.
they're up there in the rankings in terms of offensive output and efficiency and competency, whatever. Yeah, I mean, look, you'd have to put them in the top 10, I would think. Although
I would think too. I'm with Lubie. They belong right where they belong. Number 6, and
just win. Look, if they win, they'll move up. Believe me. I mean,
yeah, it's by attrition,
baby. All we gotta do is win. Pay some bills, would you please?
Yeah, let's get these messages in. Tony, of course, brought to you by Texas Roadhouse Restaurants with Old School, and come back and feature Tony Segreto on Lubie's birthday here on the show in just a moment. Now that.
You sick?
I have a weird sniffle. It started last night. I don't know. Shirley's freaking out because she is Taylor Swift Sunday. So she literally looked at me like a ghost. I was like, "Get the fuck!" Did
she get free tickets for that, or she paid?
No, she paid, but they were smart. They bought them. No, they didn't. She's lucky that I understand how much she loves Taylor Swift, or I would be annoying the fuck out of her, because she could make like 10 grand on this one ticket alone if she was, because they have good seats. They're not only lower, but they're in this area that's like a picnic table, so they literally have chairs and room, and no one's gonna bother them, so they can stand up or stay up.
Where's she performing?
Hard Rock Stadium.
Hard Rock Stadium.
Wow.
She's in like the good chairs, like the area where it's like the couches and shit. It's like, Jesus, you could probably get like 10 to 15.
Oh yeah, I was doing a charity auction with Leslie Bisser. We were at some charity event a few months ago, and one of the things that they were auctioning off were 2 Taylor Swift tickets. And they ended up going for 10 grand. And I actually thought about buying them, because I thought, well, if I had the 10 grand, they were expecting you to pay right away. But I'm thinking, wow, I probably could have made some money on this while contributing to a very worthy cause. But I mean, look, that's out of my range. I would never pay that kind of money to see anything, Super Bowls, any event. There's nothing. I mean, if they brought back Jerry Garcia from the grave, maybe the Beatles, if they reunited with all 4 of the originals. I consider
Sinatra and Dean Martin. I go see together.
There you go. Yeah. But think about the degree of difficulty in putting that together. I mean, they're both fucking dead.
Like at the Beatles.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, Beatles reunion. I would do it.
I mean,
but not just with Ringo and McCartney. I need George. I need John.
Pay some bills, would you please?
I'm going to come back and talk some football, some baseball, everything with Tony Segreto in a moment. Now that.
The time.
8:37.
Here, let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched, steaks hand cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
What we gonna do right here is go back, way back into time.
We are now kicking it old school with the one and only Tony Segreto. Brought to you by Texas Roadhouse.
All right, welcome back to the show. So many things to get to with Tony Segreto. So let's start right here with your beloved New York Yankees.
Yes.
And they win last night. Aaron Judge had been doing nothing in the postseason. I mean, no. a home run off a high fastball that you're looking going, how strong is this motherfucker that he hit this thing straight out to center field?
Right. I mean,
that's not an easy pitch. I mean, to hit out of the park, a high fastball like that.
Just a shot. A shot. And maybe that'll get him going a little bit. But
he showed signs of life, Tone, in the previous game. He was starting to, hit the ball more solidly, even though he was making outs. And I thought he was probably going to do something. In fact, I almost was inclined, if I was a degenerate gambler of any success level, I thought about betting him to hit a home run in this game. I don't know what the odds were on that. They're probably relatively small considering how cold he was. But a big difference. I mean, it put the game not out of reach. It ended up being 6-3. But it does appear at up 2-0. And now Cleveland has 2 games at home. So maybe they can come back and do something. But it looks like they're being outclassed by the Yankees. What do you think?
I think so. I think so. When you look at that lineup from top to bottom, it's just, it's a murderer's row. It's just not just a murderer's row. They got everybody in place, and it's a tough lineup. It's a tough Verdugo. Where did you find this guy? He's a great player.
Yeah. They've had some guys wake up, though. Earlier in the year, it was just Soto and Judge. And now even without Judge, you got Stanton got hot, and Gleyber Torres and a couple of the other guys have come around.
Stanton just increased his eligibility for free agency. He's going to make a ton of dough.
I think he's signed though for like the next 20 years.
Is he? No.
Yeah. They had that 10-year deal that he signed with the Marlins that the Yankees inherited. So he's locked up. No, I don't think anybody would give him any kind of money after that. I mean, he's just unreliable. And it's good that he's hot, and he always was a streaky player.
Yes,
but I mean, you're figuring
who was it that's on the bubble?
Soto is the guy.
That's right. Soto's the one that's going to make a ridiculous.
This is his free agent year, and the Yankees knew that going in. And let's face it, whatever he turned down with the Nationals, he's going to clean up. Yeah.
I mean, they need him. I mean, he's been the one metronomic presence for them. Like,
nice word, Lubie.
I was going to say metronome, but it didn't.
No, that was good. Metronomic.
It's your birthday.
That's that Masters.
I was never good with the metronome. Well, were you, Tony? Did you ever play a musical instrument? Accordion, yes. I think you said.
Yes, I did.
You played accordion?
You played the accordion? Can you still play it? I want to see it.
It was punishment for a kid, wasn't it?
I got to tell you a great story.
Oh, all right. God, Tony Segreto playing the accordion.
At Oktoberfest, you could always get a gig.
That video of you just going crazy.
This is my former fat days. But
you were a fat kid with an accordion?
Yeah.
Wow, oh yeah.
Jesus.
God.
Jesus, did you get beat up like daily?
How many times you get hit in the head with a case?
And you're in New York too. Jesus Christ!
Yeah. You had to bring that to school.
No wonder you went on to play pro baseball and be an iconic broadcaster. You had demons.
So I have my accordion, and it's put away now. So Jack Kearns, he was tight lines and good fishing. Remember him, Jeff? He was our fishing reporter.
Okay. I don't remember him, but
okay, he passed away.
All right.
And his wife calls and says, Jack left you something in the will. You want to come to the reading? I said, gosh, I'd be honored. I'd be so touched. So I'm thinking, my God, what could Jack have left me? Money.
You're hoping it was big money, yeah.
He was wealth. He was an inspector for food, and he saved every dime he made. So
wow.
he was fairly wealthy when he died. So I'm thinking, this is great. I go there, and he goes, and to Tony Segreto, my friend, my dear friend, who I helped bring up, I leave my accordion.
Fuck out of here.
Swear to God.
Did you spit on his grave? I mean, how did you react to that?
So now I have 2 accordions.
Oh my God.
Well, you still kept the one from childhood? I would have gotten rid of that. You probably can't even pawn that fucking thing, no? Yeah, that was a rough one. French horn and accordion were two instruments that people got stuck with when I was a kid. And
I never saw an
the
accordion.
kid that was playing the accordion always had the Coke bottle glasses.
Yep.
And,
I was the perfect,
subject to much derisive commentary.
I was the perfect profile for an accordion player.
What was it, an easy instrument to play? Because you had the little buttons on the one side, the keyboard, and you had to do the thing.
You had to be dexterity. You had to be.
All right.
God.
I had Mr. Penland. Mr. Penland was my teacher. And he'd come to my house.
Private lessons?
You had lessons for the accordion? Oh, Jesus, Tony.
Wow,
How did the accordion work?
That you could admit this publicly on this show at 75 years old. Pretty bold on your part, Tony. It doesn't tarnish our image of you in any way, shape, or form. In fact, it enhances.
I was going to say.
As Lubie suggested, that you were able to overcome that.
Yep.
And go on. Now, was your mother the one that encouraged you to do this, or did you just have a fascination with the keyboard and figured the piano was going to be too tough?
No.
Both
parents.
Oh yeah, both parents. Did they play the accordion?
My father did not play any instrument, but he played by ear. So he was excellent at it. But they urged me to play. I used to now listen to this. I took accordion. My best buddy who lived across the street took violin.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay. Well, that you could make something happen with. I mean, it became much more hip later on.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
It was terrible. I would be taking my lesson, and all my buddies would be outside playing.
Yep, that's the worst.
You rarely see. I mean, unless you go to some off Bourbon Street bar in New Orleans. Or, you're watching guys marching, at one of those funeral celebrations that they have, you'll see the occasional accordion player there. But I would think all of the accordions that were manufactured around the world are all in New Orleans, or else they don't exist anymore.
It's a cool instrument. No, it really is a cool instrument.
Yeah, it was all right. I knew some guys that could play the accordion. A lot of keyboard players could play the accordion.
If you ever want a little bit of a concert, just let me know.
Anytime.
Oh, I'd love to. You know what? Maybe we should get the band back together. What do you think?
People can play the drums. You play the accordion.
I can play drums with you, and I have a set right below me here.
Too.
Oh, you did? Oh, cool. So you probably at some point had the metronome, and I used to routinely butcher that, man. I was just like, how fucking out of beat are you, DeForest? It was great. All right, so let's get to this other thing, which I think you would be the perfect person to address this. I want to like Tom Brady as an announcer. I really do. I'm not one of these people that hates Tom Brady. I think he's very admirable in a lot of the things that he's done. He was a great quarterback. I'm sure he had many, many things that he could have said about what was going on, his relationship with Kraft and Belichick. One of the admirable qualities that people don't mention a lot is that he continued to sacrifice his own financial well-being, even though he was getting paid very handsomely. But he always sacrificed for the team. Took far less money. I mean, if you got look at the people that are making like hundreds of millions of dollars today, like Deshaun Watson and Daniel Jones and even Tua, and they couldn't begin. They couldn't wear his jockstrap as a quarterback and the kind of guy that was like your Bob Greasy type of leader on the field, the old cerebral guy that knew how to make all the right plays, came through in a clutch. He did everything right. I was hoping he would be a little more open as an announcer. I only really watched maybe a half of his first game. Maybe that's an unfair judgment, but you could kind of tell. I don't know, Tony, when you used to get these guys coming in and applying for jobs at NBC, you sort of could tell if a guy had it or not, could you not? Yeah. I mean, you might have hired a guy and go ahead, Louis.
I was going to say, at least worth work, because they always say that about me, and it's like, you haven't even seen me. At least see, like, you could tell if someone's worth working with,
yes,
or not.
Right.
Like,
yeah,
they may not evolve to be the greatest broadcaster ever, but you could kind of sense if the guy had a little bit, or maybe be a grinder or whatever. And
Hank Goldberg was a perfect example.
Yeah. Well, Hank, and he ignited that spark. I mean, he was in the perfect medium. Although he did very well. He actually was a fairly polished television announcer. Yeah, for a guy that you thought wouldn't necessarily be that great at that, but he did very well, and he was very professional in what he did. Yeah, good example there. Old Henry Goldberg. If he walked in this schlep, with his shirt tucked out and the food stain on it, and started talking like, "Hey, what are you talking about? You're an asshole." You would have said, "I don't know if this is for you." All right, but now, I mean, while this guy is trying to evolve as an announcer, they're paying him $375 million to be the number one analyst on the Fox broadcast. They got rid of your guy, Greg Olson, then I mean, who watches the number 2 game in any market? I haven't seen Olsen once this year. Have you?
I've seen him one time. He's
Okay.
excellent. He is.
You love him.
Good.
Yeah, and I would say, in terms of providing insight during the game, it wasn't my favorite. I really like him personally. Everything that I saw him, and I had some marginal contact with him when he was a Hurricane, and after that. But as a pro, a very admirable guy. You're rooting for him, and you're thinking, okay, I'm going to give this guy the benefit of every doubt. But with Brady now, he buys a piece of the Raiders, and as a result of that, as a color analyst, he's not going to be allowed to criticize the officials. Talk about any team in a negative way. He's not going to have access to any of the other teams, so he's not even going to get that meeting that you always used to reference. Well, in the quarterback meeting we had, Aaron Rodgers says he's going to throw the ball more. All right, great. I don't know that you're getting any real, deep wisdom out of those meetings. It is good to talk to the people. I never found those production meetings to be particularly insightful. I don't know about you, Tony, when you were doing games or, especially.
You use it for reference of the team. So you're let's say we're playing so and so. I can say, oh, in the production meeting,
yeah.
We
spoke to so-and-so, and he said, and he's scared to death to play this game. He knows he's going to get killed. But you never had stuff like that. It was always, very kind of temperate commentary you got from these people. The coach never said, hey, listen, this team is garbage, and we'll never have a chance to win. But I mean, all that being said, how could this guy then be the number one analyst when he's not allowed to say anything? Literally, I mean, the restrictions, because of this 5% ownership he just acquired of the Las Vegas Raiders, would make it impossible for anybody to say, hey, let's put this guy in the booth. What do you think?
I'm with you. I don't understand it. If he wants to own a team, go own a team. Go own a team. If you want to be an analyst, why do you? If you want to be, I
mean, analysts already. We point out how average they are as it is. Like they already are gun shy about mocking or contrasting refs or going after the players, especially when they're not far removed. They're already very sterile with the way they treat the players and refs. So now he can't at all. He can't. Like, I didn't know.
Not allowed to say anything.
I mean, that's ridiculous. Like, he can't say anything negative. Then what the fuck is the point? It's not. You just sound like Gruden. Then, like, you can't just be positive all the time. Like, come on. I mean, that's ridiculous. Then that's not analysis. That's fluff.
He's making as much money as he can while he can.
That's a joke.
I don't blame him for that. And I was hoping that he really would be great at this. I really thought there was a possibility that could happen.
But
I
the
did.
First game, I knew he wasn't going to make it. I just
Too generic. Yes.
Yeah. He's not willing to go out. Yeah, he's not willing to go on a limb.
Greg Olson, to his credit, just kept his nose clean. He's to the point. He's critical. He's honest. He bases his information on what he knows by the players. He's good. He's good.
I mean, if Brady, you would think that with these restrictions placed on his commentary, that it would almost be. I mean, the move would be to just resign.
Yes.
And say, listen, I don't need the $375 million. I'm filthy rich anyway, but I can't really operate under these parameters and these guidelines. If I can't say anything, then fuck it. I'm not going to do it.
First of all, I can't believe it's gotten this far.
Yeah, that's weird.
I mean, those are league rules that he has no access to other teams, and that he's not allowed to say anything negative about the other teams in the league, and he's not allowed to talk about. I mean, I would love to see a guy just say, "Hey, man, that official just flat out blew that fucking call."
Yeah, that's
because look, as a fan, as a viewer, you can see it.
He can say that if the Raiders aren't playing, can he?
No, he's saying
never. No. This is it. I mean, he's only allowed to talk in a critical fashion, I guess, about the Raiders. If that, I'm not even sure if that applies, but he's not allowed to make any criticisms of other teams. Nothing. He can't say, hey, listen, if they keep running the ball like this for 2 yards a pop, then they ought to fire the entire coaching staff. Not that he was inclined to say something like that anyway, but I don't know what insight he can provide if he's not allowed to even hint at criticism of officials and or the teams that are on the field. And that's both sides. I mean, if he's doing the Bucs against Green Bay, He's not allowed to say anything critical of either team.
Yeah, I mean, what's the point of it?
How could you not? I mean, at some point, just out of knee-jerk reaction, you're going to say, well, can you believe they threw the ball from their own goal line? You got to be fucking kidding me.
Some guy's going to make a bonehead play, and he's not going to be allowed to say anything about it. Please.
Yeah. Well, no, he's going to have to say, well, the number 13 is really trying out there. And everybody is dedicated in this league.
Like the guy in Omaha, he's if anybody was batting below 250, he would always say, and he's working on his stance.
I don't know. That was a weird one, Tony. I was curious to see what you would think about that.
This is what I think.
All right. Now, we got a couple of other things we have to get to here. Dolphins coming back, playing Indianapolis. I'm losing sleep over the fact that you were thrown in the towel on the Miami Dolphins.
Don't lose sleep.
What do you see happen? I got up at 4 a.m. I couldn't get back to sleep. I was thinking we're going to be talking to Tony today, and the one guy I think has faith in his team and the franchise, the organization, he's given up. Flowers are in the punch. I don't know. I mean, when you look at what's going on, the Buffalo Bills haven't looked great in the last after that 3-0 start. They've been mediocre at best, you would have to say. Certainly look vulnerable. The Jets now added Devontae Adams. I don't know if that gets you excited, but it can't hurt anything, you would have to think. And they've made changes. And I think the biggest change, you talk about addition by subtraction, is they took the play calling away from Nathaniel Hackett, who at one time was well respected as an offensive coordinator, and now he's just a butcher.
Yeah. Devontae Adams deal, it gives Rodgers a confidant.
Yes.
That's what it does.
Which he had a lot of already.
Yeah, it's the Packers East.
Yeah, the Packers East.
Can you believe this guy's running the franchise, though?
He's making all the he fired Saleh. He made the trade for Devontae Adams. He's a player coach.
Yeah, I'm thinking if I had a chance to acquire Devontae Adams, I'm going to do it anyway, regardless. I would imagine other teams in the league are more than willing to sacrifice.
Why don't you say Devontae Adams is up for a trade? He's going to the Jets.
Kind of knew that all along, didn't we? You didn't have to be Adam Schefter to sniff that one out.
No, you didn't.
All right, and your Hurricanes finally get what people are assuming what was going to be their big challenge on the season, and that is on the road against Louisville. Louisville, of course, we have a very strong fondness for a lot of reasons. Number one, it's the city where the Kentucky Derby takes place, and there's Churchill Downs there. But also, Tony, I'm going to go to Louisville. We're going to get a stadium built, and this team is going to be really something.
He resurrected that program to
no doubt.
Built it, honestly, they never had a program.
He's something else.
We need to get you on a campaign right here to get how is Howard Schnellenberger not in the College Football Hall of Fame? That is one of the biggest oversights of any Hall of Fame disgrace that we've seen in any sport.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Start today.
You have a lot more.
Lubie, get it going on your birthday.
I mean, it's more Segreto. Segreto literally knows.
You should lead the whole charge, Tony.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you have the strength, the energy? If Trump can campaign around the country at 78.
I'm senile, if not all the way senile.
That's my image of Trump. If I was Kamala, I would just have him doing that thing where he was mocking the poor handicapped reporter, and that would be it. I would say, hey, Donald, what are you going to do about the economy? And then show the shot.
If my wife were here, she'd say, don't get involved in the conversation. I gotta say.
I had a guy write me a very cordial message, watches the show, and name escapes me because all names escape me now. So I apologize if you're watching today. And very gentlemanly said, hey, you guys are always blasting Trump, and here's why I'm voting for him.
Okay, why?
And I thought, and he was saying that we're sort of implying that anybody that votes for Trump has to be flat out of their mind.
Yes.
Which
at this point, you have
that
to
would be my opinion, but I'm respectful of other people's opinion. If he's going to vote for him, well, what am I going to do about it? Nothing. Is it going to change my life? Maybe if he wins. Yes. This is one of the few times I've actually thought, and I thought this. In 2016, Lubie and I were discussing all of this stuff, and my thought was, well, geez, the president, no matter how bad he is, can't do enough damage to really send the country spiraling out of control.
if they care.
And then he did it. And yet people think that was good. The stock market's 43,000 now, the Dow Jones, or 44. It never hit these heights. It was like 16 when he was president. So all of this stuff about the economy, I mean, there has to be some contrasting evidence that maybe, these guys have actually done something to resurrect it. Maybe they haven't solved everything, because when you go to the grocery store, if you look at the profits of Publix and these supermarkets, is that not more responsible for driving prices out of control than...
What do you mean, what's it called? One of them admitted, yeah, we drove up prices, and what was it? One of them admitted, yeah, of course we're driving up prices. It's clear.
Where are you voting? Are you voting behind Sanders in Vermont or down here? What are you going to do, Tom?
You know what? Funny you brought that up. I'll be there.
Vote in both states. Can you do it?
No,
I don't want to be encouraged voted for.
They believe that really happened.
We'll see you at Gulfstream a week from Friday.
Oh yeah, you're going to be there. All right, Tony.
And then going home just for like 3 weeks, a month, and then coming back here for the holidays.
Nice.
Now, does Mayo need to get you a racing form? Because we'll put in that request today.
Please.
A week from Friday, extra forms. Not for Tony necessarily, but for his lovely wife, who happens to be a horse racing degenerate, which I greatly respect, Tony.
She'll be happy to know she's ranked as a degenerate.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we love her, man. I mean, look, she's a great woman. I remember, I believe, I met you a long time ago with wife number 2 at Johnny's, which was a good Italian restaurant, and you, I think, had just started seeing your wife, or she may not have even been your wife at the time.
No, she wasn't.
Okay, yeah, and you were very happy and romantically engaged. I like that about that.
It still is.
I'm looking at Tony going, that's the way to treat a woman, not acting like I was.
We've been together for 43 years.
Woo! So yeah, that was a long time ago.
Married 34 years.
Okay, so, all right. You might have been married at the time then, but and we miss. You ever talk to Johnny? He had a great restaurant. Oh, is that Pembroke Pines? So
yeah, I haven't. There are so many people in our lives that have come in and have been have played a meaningful role in our lives, and we've lost touch with them.
All the time, yep.
That's one good thing about Facebook. People complain about it, but
that is the positive.
I have circled back with many people that I knew, 50, 60 years ago, and you're able to stay in touch with them, and it's nice to know they're doing okay. And then you keep trying to find particularly flattering pictures of yourself that you can put up, so they're not thinking, "What the fuck happened to you?" All right, how many Texas Roadhouse restaurants will you stop in on your way back on your drive?
As many as possible,
and save a lot of money over some of those other rip-off joints that you could be going to.
Yeah. I sat at the bar at a Texas Roadhouse in Kentucky, I think, and it was just ideal. I mean,
Lexington? Were you in Lexington?
No, it was someplace. It was
all right. Louisville. They're all over Louisville.
But it was lovely. It was no one bothered me. If I wanted a conversation with someone, I could have one. The beer was cold. The food was I knew what I was getting. The rolls were outstanding, and I couldn't ask for a better meal.
Does your conscious or subconscious mind tell you not to eat too many rolls? Are you fighting your subconscious? Because any place that has great rolls, of course, Texas Roadhouse would qualify near the top of the list.
I limit myself to 2.
Oh, good for you.
Right. I mean, you're tempted to reach for that third one. You already got the knife in the butter. And you're saying, I have an appetizer, main course, 2 sides coming. I'm going to have dessert. Why don't I skip this roll here? And then what do? Do you put one in your pocket? Take it home? Oh, they'll let you take them home, right?
They'll actually give you as many rolls as you want. You don't have to steal it.
Right. Well, we all love Texas Roadhouse and Ed Garcia, and we wish his Michigan Wolverines well, as they will be laying 3 points on the road against a very tough Illinois team, Tony.
Hey, listen, Andrew Peters just wrote, there's a Wall Street research report that came out last week that singled out Texas Roadhouse as the best value of any chain restaurant in the country.
Oh, it's by a lot.
Yeah. Even the always skeptical Mike Mayo.
Oh, no, Mayo's
had to acknowledge it. Well, maybe I was wrong about that.
No, for sure.
Not an easy admission to coax out of that gentleman, I can assure you, Tony. All right, we love you, Tony Segreto. We'll see you a week from Friday. Very exciting, but we'll talk to you, of course, again next Wednesday here on the show. Brought to you by Texas Roadhouse, the great one himself, the iconic broadcaster, Mr. Tony Segreto. Yankees up 2-0, so he's very happy about that. Are you looking for the Subway series, or you want to see Yankees-Dodgers?
Yankees Mets. I want to see
because you think the Yankees can beat the Mets.
Yeah, I want to see that so bad, but I don't think it'll happen.
It's possible, man. I tell you what. How do you not like the Mets tonight? All logic would point to the Mets tonight.
Dodgers.
Severino against Ferris Bueller. You got to be kidding me. Bueller's been terrible this year, and Severino's been okay. Although, what's weird is, do you look at this stat at all? Like Severino's 11-7, but the team's only 15-16 in his starts.
That's not good.
Bueller, contrastingly, is 1-6 his record this year, but the team was 9-7 in games that he started. So they do have that lineup that can make amends for lousy starting pitching. So we'll see. I miss Kershaw being out there in the postseason.
Me too.
You?
Me too.
Yeah. I mean, he was horrible in the postseason for most of his career, but
so cool.
Hey, Lubie, I may have to change Wednesday to Thursday. I'll let you know.
Just let me know.
Okay, yeah, you do it. Tony, you have free run on this show, man. It's your spot, man. All right, thanks, Tony. We'll talk to you again next week, possibly Thursday. All right, Tony Segreto, ladies and gentlemen. All right, Lubie, happy birthday. We'll see you later on. Mike Mayo's Lunchbox, 1 o'clock today is post time for that program. And I will be on a variety of other shows today, various other platforms. And tomorrow as well. We'll keep you posted and well informed as these things transpire. So happy birthday, Lubie. We'll have another chance to wish you a happy birthday later on. And people, thanks so much for being with us. Always good to see that Andy is active and alive.
Yeah, he's like involved, thank God.
I mean, really, outside of red clots, I don't know anybody that had more clots than this guy, man. All right, we'll see you next time as we leave you know that.
The time.
It's 9:06.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my show.